Hello, I'm Nicholas Bianchetta. With me is Jake Dougherty and Emma Messenger. We are the management team of Oasis Airlines. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an in-depth analysis of our company and share how our company performed throughout the airline simulation. As you can see on these slides, there's a lot of information to cover. We'll start with an overview of the company. Oasis Airlines has positioned itself as a company that provides low fares while differentiating itself from competitors with added amenities and services offered to its customers. Our mission statement is to provide a variety of excellent services to personal and commercial travelers at affordable rates. In the first year of operations, we shifted our strategy of being a mid-price carrier to a discount carrier. We also chose to offer cargo services on our flights as a means of generating more revenue. Furthermore, we chose to enter the car rental business, which also serves an additional source of revenue. Lastly, we fully paid off our short-term debt. In year two, our revenues reached over $4 million, and we started to see significant net profits. Additionally, we were recognized as the employer of the region. During this time, Oasis Airlines purchased its first large jet, the TP-450. Another milestone of this year was that we increased wages 5% above prevailing wages. In year three, Oasis Airlines started to rank first in multiple valuation metrics, including stock price, earnings per share, yield per ASM, cost per ASM, net profit, quality, and passenger load factor. We increased our sales force to 10 people, and our final milestone was reaching a share price above $40, which is over 100% gain since the start of the simulation.
To analyze our company, we did an in-depth analysis of the airline industry as a whole. These 5 powers all affect companies and their ability to achieve success within an industry. Due to the external factors that affect the industry, such as the cost of fuel, labor, and aircrafts, the power of suppliers is very strong for airline companies. All of these factors require companies to depend on outside sources that are affected by factors such as the geopolitical climate with regards to fuel and limited suppliers when it comes to purchasing or leasing aircrafts. Thus, airlines are subject to uncontrollable operating costs, which includes the cost of fuel that is determined by the market conditions, the cost of either leasing or purchasing aircrafts, which is controlled by main suppliers, as well as the cost of labor with the potential threat of unionization. The power of buyers is strong due to regulations in the industry, the multiple channels for ticket sales, and fierce competition with the vast number of airlines. Consumers are not just limited to buying tickets directly from the airline, as many other companies, like Expedia, offer competitive rates that allow buyers to shop around for the best deals. Other airlines are also able to compete on price through various sales and promotions. Thus, companies are limited in their ability to raise prices dramatically as consumers have relative bargaining power. Transportation substitutes, such as through traveling by car, train, or boat, also presents a threat to the industry. The threat of new entrants in this industry is low due to the high entry barriers. Considerable capital is necessary in order to enter the industry, and operating costs are also very high due to external factors such as the cost of fuel, labor, and aircraft parts, as well as maintenance. The industry is also highly regulated and competitive, with many rivals competing on price and services. Rivalry and competition amongst the various airlines also contributes to a strong force in this industry. Many airlines compete on price as discount airlines base fares off their competitors in an effort to present the lowest price to consumers. Since price is a huge aspect affecting consumers' choice, price competition is prevalent amongst most airlines, as many of the services and amenities relate across the board. If implemented strategically, many of these factors can lead to success for airline companies. Service and amenities give airline companies the ability to differentiate from the competition based on what they offer. Thus, certain services might draw in consumers and lead to increased sales and overall success. Oasis was able to differentiate by providing greater levels of service to customers in comparison to typical discount airlines, which in turn led to increased ticket sales. The more efficient companies are in their operations, the more success they can attain. Greater operations leads to higher quality ratings that ties into positive brand image and recognition. If customers do not experience any problems due to seamless operations, they will become loyal to their company. Technology and ticketing resources can also be a differentiating factor, leading to greater ticket sales and overall success. Convenience with technology services and updated applications make it easier for customers to purchase tickets. Overall, better interfaces will attract more customers. Management and personnel make up the backbone of a company. Having the right people and right training can make all the difference when it comes to the operations of the company as a whole. Thus, management and employee development that aligns the company with the strategic goals leads to greater levels of implementation and overall success. High load factors are very important in a company's ability to be successful. In order to achieve profitability and high performance, load factors must exceed break-even points for all flights. Thus, many parts of a company's value chain work to maximize capacity on every flight. This factor can be directly compared between airline companies as a numerical implication of success amongst competitors. Considering that each of Porter's 5 competitive forces are strong in the airline industry, it is imperative that airline companies create a well-thought-out strategic plan to attain success. Overall, the aspects of the 5 competitive forces, as stated before, all lead the airline industry to be unattractive, as high profitability is not as easily attainable when compared to other industries where some of the forces are much weaker. Airline companies that are able to follow a successful strategic principle, such as Southwest Airlines, or that leverage success factors in order to differentiate from other airlines, may be able to achieve great levels of profitability and success despite these strong forces. Thus, even though the industry is unattractive overall, a successful implementation of an effective strategy can help certain companies stand out and attain a greater market share. After looking at the industry as a whole, we started to do an in-depth analysis of our company at the business level. As you can see here, the generic business strategy of Oasis revolves around differentiation. Originally, we had entered the competition as a mid-price carrier with the plan of differentiating in that market. After doing a fair analysis of the competitors, the company decided to become a discount airline to better compete with rivals. Our differentiation strategy remained, but our implementation and mission statement changed overall. Thus, Oasis strives to provide premium services that are unique amongst discount airlines. The company also aims to differentiate as an overall transportation company rather than just an airline company. Building off of the company's differentiation strategy, we can look at the individual activities and operations that encompass the resources and capabilities of Oasis. In our analysis of the resources and capabilities, we will assess the company's value chain, which will include both primary and support activities. Additionally, we will identify the tangible and intangible resources along that value chain. Lastly, we will discuss the core competencies that also relate to the company's overall capabilities that have distinguished Oasis from the other competitors and thus have lended to the company's success. The purpose of the primary activities is to create value for a company by producing profits that are greater than the cost of carrying out the activities. Under these 5 categories are various activities that all work to create value for Oasis in the airline industry. Inbound logistics activities create value for Oasis by determining the best course of action, such as with routes and scheduling, that would provide the most value for customers and thus increase profitability. Tracking load factors and scheduling flights accordingly helps to determine the allocation of sales based on the most popular routes that would allow for greatest capacity utilization. Marketing and sales activities create value for the firm by increasing brand awareness and overall revenue. For example, increases in cargo marketing over the quarters had raised awareness for the service and in turn had raised cargo revenue from 0.1% of total revenue in the first quarter to 2.8% of total revenue in the last quarter for Oasis. Operations activities, such as ticket processing through updated application, creates value for the firm by increasing the passenger load factor. For example, increased marketing paired with discounted prices from tickets purchased directly from the website drives customers to purchase more tickets through our convenient applications and thus increases the number of tickets sold. Outbound logistics activities create value by helping with the efficient delivery of the company's services, such as through the successful and safe completion of flights. For example, maintenance servicing helps us ensure that flights are ready to go at their scheduled times, while highly trained pilots and crew limit delays for the customers. Overall, the greater efficiency in these activities, the more customers are willing to fly with Oasis, thus increasing revenue. Lastly, service activities create value by bringing in more revenue that Oasis can use for increased cabin services, as well as provide various transportation needs for different customers. Our cargo service revenue and cabin service fees helped us maintain our level 2 cabin service with discount fares and still remain profitable. The purpose of the support activities in the value chain is to create value for a company by improving upon the primary activities of the value chain. Under these four categories are various activities that all work to improve upon the primary activities and further create value for Oasis in the airline industry. Procurement activities help support the primary activities by increasing the communication between all aspects of the company, which leads to more informed decision making. For example, communication between the company on maintenance procedures for specific aircrafts helps to make more informed scheduling decisions with inbound logistics. Technology development activities help increase the efficiency of operations, the marketing processes, and the inbound logistics processes of the company. For example, marketing research and development increased the website and ticket processing applications, which allowed the salespeople of the company to be more efficient in their daily tasks due to the advanced technology. Additionally, Excel formulas used to calculate the net advantage or disadvantage of leasing help the company make more efficient and informed decisions with aircraft acquisitions. Human resource activities help to increase the abilities and efficiency of the workforce, which in turn positively impacts all other aspects of the company. For example, increased training of the workforce helped raise quality ratings from a score of 64 in the first quarter to a score of 94 in the last quarter. A higher quality rating reflects greater efficiency in all the primary activities, and specifically operations. Lastly, general administration activities help support the primary activities through specific roles and tasks of management, such as financing, that impacts all activities of the company and determines the abilities and direction of the company. Financing and budgeting allows for a clear outline and understanding of the money that can be allocated to support each of the primary activities of the company, such as marketing and sales initiatives.
Throughout the semester, we applied many of the concepts discussed in competing on resources. By identifying our company's valuable resources and then continuously investing in / improving those resources, we're able to provide more value to customers. Given the nature of the simulation, competitors had access to the same tangible resources, but companies differ in terms of intangible resources and core competencies. Our ability to acquire or dispose aircrafts, purchase or lease, decide which routes to schedule flights, and the option to make special decisions has led to our firm's specific abilities. Selling our aircraft in the beginning provided us with a lot of capital without taking out loans. Increases in stock price with a strong cash position provided the ability to grow efficiently. Furthermore, we were able to budget more than 6% of our gross revenues to marketing and distribute 15% of profits back to shareholders through dividends. Our group was able to achieve positive results mainly due to our core competencies. As problems came up, we all worked together collaboratively by communicating our viewpoints and offering different perspectives. That, coupled with our marketing strategy, set us apart from the competition. Furthermore, we developed a streamlined process for financial decision-making by using Excel and previous quarter data.
Oasis has been able to achieve a strong value proposition through well-funded training programs paired with low costs for our services. This investment in understanding of our target market's needs has placed Oasis in an exceptional position to provide the highest value for our customers.
Managing Oasis Airlines required working together with several other parties to achieve our goals and properly execute the company's strategy. In the Blue Ocean Strategy article, the authors discussed the importance of differentiation to gain a competitive advantage. Rather than using our competitors as a benchmark and following their steps, we chose to place less emphasis on region and route expansion or price competitiveness. Instead, we focused heavily on promotional expenditures, increasing our sales force and expanding into new areas of business. Simultaneously, we have been able to lower costs by using a 50-50 split of our fuel contracts and maintaining good relationships with suppliers. Our loyalty to aircraft suppliers has resulted in a new pricing schedule, further lowering our cost of doing business. We decided to stay away from merging with a larger carrier because we thought the dual designation would detract us from our growth strategy. With game theory in mind, we positioned ourselves to yield high revenues and significant profits regardless of what the competitors do. This was achieved by focusing on one market and creating multiple streams of revenue. Furthermore, by working with other players in the airline industry, we have been able to add value to our customers through various services at affordable rates. Our strategy was designed to grow at a reasonable rate and maximize efficiency while maintaining a competitive advantage.
There are many important aspects when discussing corporate strategy. They can all be boiled down to three main factors: product diversification, growth, and leverage. Oasis was able to create product diversification through a variety of services that we provide, ranging from car rentals to cargo shipping, all the way to in-flight food and beverage services. Oasis works to diversify their flights within one specific region. We feel as though we run the risk of overextending ourselves if we expand too far too quickly. We decided it was best to stay in one region and cover most flights in the given region. Many of the external regions failed to match our target market. Diversification came as a byproduct of growth. As we began to see success, we slowly began to implement a variety of services. This helped to both retain and capture larger portions of our market. Oasis is able to use product diversification and growth to leverage positions with suppliers and consumers. We have turned down work and have had conversations regarding suppliers. We're able to leverage the fiscal strength that we have as a result of our diversification and growth strategy to create favorable positions in all relationships. Porter had very interesting input in regard to strategy as well. He was able to really boil down his stance into four main aspects: operation effectiveness, strategic positioning, productivity frontier, and competitive convergence. Operating effectiveness is what Porter stressed the most. It is simply how effective a company runs its operations. We took this idea very seriously. That is why we aim to invest significant sums into training and compensation. This gives Oasis's employees the skills to succeed with the incentive to stay. Strategic positioning. This concept reflects the uniqueness of a company. What makes Oasis unique is the services we provide. The most notable service is our cargo services. We invested significant sums of money over most quarters to ensure that our cargo capabilities were favored over the competition. Productivity frontier is, in essence, what your company does better than anyone else. For Oasis, this advantage is service. Oasis has been ranked among the top 2 in reliability and quality throughout the entire industry, all for the same price. The value proposition is head and shoulders above the competition, and that is supported by data. Competitive convergence is to what extent a company stands out among its competitors. This concept is tied strongly to the productivity frontier. The positive experience that is provided through Oasis's productivity frontier has helped significantly to create competitive convergence that has Oasis recognized for the service and excellence that occurs on every flight. Strategic implementation covers 3 main factors: planning, team dynamics, and compensation. Oasis puts stress on critical thinking and planning. Early on in this simulation, we made few mistakes on a whim and quickly adapted as a result. The main way we did this was through data analytics and spreadsheets. By making assumptions based on data, we were able to create reasonable decisions with the aid of spreadsheets to help expedite the process. Having a clear plan and thought process for all our decisions, despite how small, made a significant impact on the group's ability to succeed. Oasis worked to play to everyone's strengths. Team role decisions were made based on previous experience. Nick Bianchetta is our CFO, Emma Messenger is our CMO, and Jake Doherty is the head of HR. Even though roles were assigned, everyone was ready and willing to both ask for help and step in when needed. This led to no objective leader, since everyone knew the expectations. There were no real problems, only conversations concerning special decisions or due date assignments. Oasis took notes from Lincoln Electric in regards to their compensation strategy. Compensation was based strongly on performance. Prevailing wages were grounded at 0% until Oasis saw a profitable quarter. Once we saw a profitable quarter, there were gradual increases for each instance there was a profitable quarter. Oasis never reduced pay, but we did halt pay increases if expectations were not met. The thought process behind this was that taking pay away would have an adverse effect, rather than a motivating effect on employees. Oasis also worked to make sure that compensation was given to all employees, not just managers and pilots. The fear here is that if Oasis's perception by its employees was that of valuing one segment of workers over another, there would be a significant pullback from the underappreciated workers. Oasis had the most generous compensation plans and training plans, which directly impacted the reliability and quality of the airline. This also allowed for Oasis to have very little employee turnover. This is significant because it is much more cost effective to retain workers than to go out and find new employees and have to retrain them.
In order to gauge our company's performance, we performed an analysis of the financial data throughout the 12 quarters. The current ratio illustrates the company's ability to pay off short-term debts, such as the ones due within a year. In the first year, we held a large cash position after selling our aircraft and having to lease a fully leased fleet, which caused our current ratio to be much higher than the industry average, as shown in quarter two. Until we further established our strategy, most of the cash from the sale was placed into short-term investments, such as certificate deposits each quarter. Additionally, we fully paid off our debts, so there weren't too many current liabilities. The high current ratio in the chart for quarter two shows an insufficient use of assets, but our team quickly deployed the cash in a way to help the company grow. Up until the last 3 quarters of simulation, our company retained a strong cash position and ability to easily pay off current liabilities. Around this time, we started to use more financial leverage through short-term financing because interest rates were much lower than long-term loans. Given that our company's current ratio was both above, below, and equal to the industry average at different parts throughout the simulation, it is safe to say that Oasis Airlines has a competitive parity in this category. Return on sales demonstrates how much profit a company is generating for each dollar of revenue. After we revised our strategy in quarter two, our return on sales has trended upward, meaning that Oasis Airlines has been growing efficiently. Our above average results in this category represent a strong competitive advantage. The debt to equity ratio chart here shows how much Oasis Airline finances its operations through debt compared to wholly owned funds. A financing mistake that was made at the beginning caused us to incur an overdraft fee with a hefty interest rate, which is shown by the spike in Q2. The first couple quarters, meaning our company was not overly leveraging its assets and in a good financial position. Once we sold our aircraft and fully paid off our long-term debts, we did not take out any more long-term loans for a few quarters, which explains why the ratio was flat in quarters 3 through 5. After that, our position in this category consistently stayed above the industry average because we started to utilize debt to our advantage once we were growing efficiently. Our company has a competitive parity in this category and typically followed the same trend as the industry average. Return on assets shows how profitable a company is in relation to its total assets. Oasis Airlines held relatively few assets in the beginning of the simulation and was still able to achieve significant profits. The spike from Q2 to Q3 shows how beneficial our restructuring was to the firm's bottom line. Since then, Oasis maintained an above average ROA for the remainder of the simulation. This illustrates a competitive advantage in efficient use of assets. The ratio trend of ROA is similar to the industry average, but overall our company has been able to generate more profits with less assets compared to our competitors. As a result of our efficient use of funds and sound management practices, Oasis Airlines has ranked number 1 in multiple categories. Out of our competitors, we accumulated the greatest amount of cumulative net profits, at $3 million. Additionally, Oasis Airlines finished with the highest stock price, greatest quality rating, and highest yield per available seat miles.
We've all learned an immense amount from participating in this simulation. Some of our good decisions from the simulation included creating a projection tool to streamline the financial decision-making process, choosing to lead with integrity and transparency in our decision-making, denying mergers and acquisitions to retain control of the company, and diversifying outside of passenger flights with cargo, ambulance, and rental car services. Some of our bad decisions included not effectively utilizing the research reports in the beginning of the simulation to assess the position of the competitors, not creating an effective process for projecting or calculating our finances, which resulted in an overdraft fee, and not budgeting enough for training in the beginning, which led to low quality ratings and an inefficient workforce. Overall, our team learned how to collaboratively work as a group while successfully managing a company. We also learned about the various moving parts that affect the airline industry, such as the different types of aircrafts, load factors, and the types of actions that affect business. Going back, we would have purchased competitor industry reports earlier on in the simulation, started out as a discount airline, and established our financial projection tools before the first quarter.
Thank you for your time, this invaluable learning experience.